Greetings! My name is Turdin, and
Today we're just gonna talk about them best and greenest of lads. So let's waste no more of this talky time and get right into...
so what is the Grand Alliance destruction? Well, it's probably the simplest out of all of them to explain, honestly, though that's not a bad thing and kind of by design. Destruction believes in two core tenets: might makes right, and civilization is a bit cringe, innit? They're all about strength and the tearing down of structure. Structure, after all, exists only to coddle and protect the weak. Like, why do you even need walls around your house anyway? What, are you too weak to protect yourself, you big softy? Nay, better to shit in buckets and die of polio before you hit double digits. Just like Gorkamorka, the greatest and greenest of all the gods intended. Better to return the realms to its original primal state, where the weak fear the strong, the laws of the jungle reign dominant, and a real muscle-maxing alpha males can prevail. Though the exact definition of what strong even means, or what this primal state looks like, is something that they themselves don't even know. So let's get into each of these grand visionaries and look at what they believe the future should entail. And where better to start than the biggest, the meanest.
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
The ORRUK WARCLANS, whose name I could joke about if anyone outside of my specific slice of Europe would get it, are, shockingly, orcs. Big, mean, and green, they come in two distinct flavors: thick and luscious, and lean with zero sugar and no added fats. To start with the bigger, meatier lads, we have the Ironjaws, big angry brutes who live by might makes right. If you're the biggest, you're the boss. If someone disagrees, bash their zogenet in and prove them wrong, kind of like the US election system. Now, one Ironjaw is already a proper headache, quite literally and extremely, when they get too close with their preferred piece of jagged metal. But their overall threat level is quintupled when they get a proper WAAAAGH going, which is basically when a whole bunch of orcs decide they really don't like a particular settlement, kingdom, or species, and decides to smash it up for the laughs. Fun shenanigans ensue. And on the other hand of this murderous coin, you have the ORRUK, no, bad Turdin, we have the Cruel Boys, who are a bit scrawnier than your regular orc, but make up for it with trickery, actual tactics, and sheer, undiluted bastardry. They go for just about every shitty trick or MLL marketing scheme in the book to reach their goals, which can range from conjuring ancient swamp magic to beguile and misdirect their foes, to pissing in the local water supply and switching your heart medication for vitamin gummies. And don't let their slutty wastes distract you from the fact that they are still orcs, and can still punch your teeth through the back of your head blindfolded. As for the subfactions, we're going 2 for 2. For the Ironjaws, you got the Iron Suns, for if you want to employ the heights of big thinking, like using favorable weather or flanking. And the Sky Bashes, for if you want to yar har fiddle the wah. And for the Cruel Boys, we have the Grinnin Blades, for if you're a big fan of stealth survival horror, where you're the whore. And the Big Yellers, for if you're coked up on so much gamer subs, you can 360 no-scope snipe a rat's left testicle from half a mile away. Favorite model? Ghoul Dan and Little Dan.
He's a little guy. He's just a little guy. He's just a little guy.
So what if you like the backhanded sneakiness of the Cruel Boys, but wanted to drop even more mass and calories? And also haven't gone outside and let the sun touch your skin in the last 7 years. Well, we got goblins. The Gleumspite Goytz are the great green legions of the dark places of the world. Endless hordes of little green guys who might not have the physique or durability of their larger cousins, but every bit of cruelty and more to boot. They worship the Bad Moon, a sort of weird smiling fear and hunger looking ass thing that is unfortunately very much real and has a bad habit of just kind of appearing in random places. And immediately causing a hell of a lot of mayhem, madness and mushrooms. Lots and lots of mushrooms. A gift to all the champignon fans in the audience, you'll get a real kick out of their minis. Though a big part of this complete pandemonium that George the Big Friendly Moon causes is because of the gobos themselves, who religiously chase the thing around and are attracted to its horrible glow like a bunch of terrible green moths. And a bunch of inventive moths at that, being at the general bottom of the destruction food chain and, well, honestly just the Age of Sigmar food chain in general, they've had to get increasingly creative so they can get to shank people good, which ranges from mixing their mushrooms into horrible poisons to the tried and true methods of being friends with the big kids so you don't get bullied. Notable mentions being squigs, which are basically like red basketballs made of teeth, and anyone who's ever had a basketball spiked straight into their face during PE knows how dangerous a prospect that is. Drogs, which are literally just trolls, and giant spiders. Because imagine having a fantasy setting without giant bloody spiders. As for the subfactions, I'm going to be a little naughty and skip this step and just tell you to read Gleumspite right now. No amount of funnies I make in this section will explain the sheer horror of these little green ass baskets as that book does. Favorite model? Goapalooza, easily. Even if you have very little interest in the setting, which if you're watching this video, I kinda hope you do, just at least buy this set. You won't regret it.
Please, you have to crush me.
So once upon a ye olden time, there was a very big dude known as Behemat, who was Gorka Morka's best mate. The two got up to all sort of dastardly mischief until one day Morka Gorka thought it'd be funny to ask Behemat to give Siggy a little poke. Sigmar being Sigmar, that is to say, him, completely cold-clocked Behemat into a coma so hard he didn't wake up for 1,000 years. And then smaller, but still very huge versions of himself crawled out of his mouth, known as the Gargants, and immediately got up to all sorts of trouble. Now, the Gargants aren't really a unified force, even for the abysmal standards of destruction factions. They really all just spend their time meandering about and doing whatever the hells they feel like. I mean, just one of them can punt a greater demon like they're a weird immaterial football. Are you really gonna expect them to follow rules? Occasionally, a few of them might band together or team up with other forces offering them free food and drinks, but even then this is considered a pretty risky deal, as you're more giving them suggestions than holding even the slightest shred of actual power over them. They're also all food fetishists. This is canon. It's in the lore. Literally everything in their culture is named after feet. It's kinda weird, and also smelly. Also, as the idea of a sub-faction for these guys is laughable at best, since that would require the barest semblance of administration, and pan-scrappingly terrifying for the rest of the universe at worst, I will instead regale you with some of their favorite pastimes. Man Skittles. A game for risky thrill seekers. Whenever you're on the battlefield and there's a big clump of little folks together, grab something big, like a rock, big animal, building, whatever, and try to knock out as many people with a single throw. Tank tipping. So the cities of Sigmar have these tanks, right? Wouldn't it be funny to see how far you can kick those? Wake belching. A favorite of mercenaries who are bored on nights where there's nothing to stomp. Burp as loud as you can in the middle of a settlement and try to wake up as many people in one go as you can. Favorite model? The big one. And last, but most certainly not least, we have the ogres. And unlike the other more rowdy destruction factions, these are true cultured individuals. They are Epicureans, gourmets with refined palates that will taste only the finest of caviar. Unfortunately, these refined palates usually consist of people, and just about anything else they can get their hands on. I might have been stretching the definition of refined a tad. An ogre is like 3 times as large and beefy as a human, and keeping a body like that going at full efficiency takes a lot of nutrients. So ogres have this little quirk where their stomachs can digest just about everything, even magic or inorganic materials like metal. You might see a fully armored knight, they see canned meat, except the can is also edible. And because of this, food is central in their culture. They will set out in large hosts all across the mortal realms in order to devour whatever meals they can get their hands on and tear down anything that tries to tell them no. Occasionally, they might be open to trade or do mercenary work for their meals, but as with every destruction factions, this is a risky proposal at the best of times and only works for as long as they respect you, which isn't very often, in which cases they go right back to stamping on your prized flower bed and eating your dog and or toddler and or you. But they're not all just a bunch of hungering brutes wandering about looking for things to murder. Some of them ride on animals as well. The Beastclaw Raiders are ogres who have gotten a little dollop of divine punishment and are now eternally chased by a massive fuck-off blizzard. We don't know exactly why this happened. Some say it's because they ate some of Gorka Morka's leftovers he was saving for himself, others that they just pissed off Sigmar, which, yeah, fair enough. But the end result is that they always need to be on the move in these massive caravans stretching through the realms. And if you thought a regular ogre was a headache to deal with, imagine one riding on a mammoth, whose horns are made of stone and murder. Have fun. For sub-factions, we have the titular Mawtribes, large factions of large lads with an equally large appetite, with some prominent examples including the Blood Gullet, for if your preferred tastes include black pudding, blood pannekaker and tegwekwe, the Underguts,
bitches love cannons,
and the Winterbite, for if your preferred tastes include these unholy abominations whose existence is a sin. Favorite model? The humble ogre glutton. Like me food, like me mates, hate being hungry, simple as. And that's it. The end. Every single army in Age of Sigmar summarized and quickly explained. It took a lot longer than I would have liked, owing to things like school, work, and my dwarven brain just being sad sometimes, but I got there in the end anyway. And I'd like to thank everyone who followed me along the way. I hope I helped inform some of y'all what armies to pick, or if nothing else, just taught you a bit more about this wonderful setting and all the weird stuff that goes on there. If I did, let me know below. I'd love to hear it. And if you like this journey, remember to like, subscribe, send a personal letter to GW asking for me to become their official mascot, symbol, CEO, and ice cream taster, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye!